Memphis, 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 Memphis. Nothing but Memphis. Everywhere we go, it's Memphis. Memphis, Tennessee, the beautiful land in the world.
And I'm thankful for this guy who tweeted and said I don't have that fire in my eye no more. That game right there was for him. That's what I do. I prove people wrong each and every night, and that's for him right there.
Hi, this is Tom Izzo at Michigan State, and you're listening to Grizz 901.
Yo, what up, and welcome back to another episode of Grizz 901, the post-game edition of Grizz 901, brought to you by Bluff City Media. We're coming off of a ugly, disgusting loss. We're going to chop this one up to the refs. We're going to get into the game in its entirety tonight. We're going to talk about the Bane game and where he literally played his tail off the entire game. We're going to get into the refs because that is a guarantee of something we're going to discuss. And then we're going to just kind of talk through a little bit of what the defense looks like, because the offense isn't the issue at this point. It has been the defense. And at the very end of the show, we're going to go ahead and take a break and then get to your preview of the next game. But you know what? We got to bring him in. We're not excited, but we're here. Listen, that game was better than it should have been. I thought the Grizzlies would come back to win. They couldn't hit some key shots. This guy's going to hit key shots each and every single show.
So we're in agreement that Carlane can kick rocks and die, right?
I'm not sure how he's going to get back to this hotel tonight, but I'm interested in seeing what route he takes.
Well, if you see a hotel on fire in Memphis, I got 3 guesses for who's staying there. Dude.
What a night, man. What a night. So the Grizzlies take the loss, 127-121. It was ugly. It was disgusting. Got a little interesting there in the third quarter. Jaren gets tossed, which, listen, I will say that the Grizzlies have played with little to no emotion the entire night. And most of the time they had played with little to no emotion this entire season. That was the most emotional this team has been this entire season, and it was refreshing. It really was. I think it was something that if you can put that in a jar, that's what you open up every single night, but you're allowed to keep Jaren on the floor. That's what's big. I think hopefully they found something, but this is depressing as hell. I'm not going to lie.
They found energy. They found a way to care. Like, is it that hard to find? Is that what has to happen for them to actually care about a basketball game? Because I'd rather they just cared in general. But yeah, man, it was a train wreck. I mean, Taylor Jenkins is, I'm pretty sure, the only person that was surprised when they gave up 3 wide open shots in a row in his zone. If anybody's been watching, like, there's at least one guy guarding air in the corner every time they run zone, and they keep running it. But yeah, the officiating was beyond abysmal tonight.
Goon the Shooter asked,
okay.
Well, actually, he's not asking. He's saying Jaren holding this team back. I know that is prisoner of the moment because they played a little bit more energetic, and it was mainly because everybody was just at that point. The volcano has erupted. You're losing your mind at the referees. I think they got a little bit of that energy from that Jaren getting tossed in the game. But is this remotely true at all?
No.
Okay.
If it is, it's an indictment of Taylor Jenkins and his staff, not Jaren. Jaren's been awesome this year. He's averaging, 26, 7, and then 3 blocks or something like that right now. 3 assists too. Nah. If it is true, then blame Taylor Jenkins and the staff. And it's not true.
Okay, so let me give you his rebuttal. Goon the Shooter has, and if you're joining us at all, if you're on Twitter, thank you for, as always, because you continuously blow it up and check out the show. I looked on the other day. I didn't realize you could give hearts, but people give hearts. I don't even know what that means, but thank you for your hearts. I can't see them unless I go back and look at our stats just to see how the show is doing. But thank you for joining us. If you want to comment as these guys, and I hit on that a little bit later, remind me to hit on our audience poll. You know what I'm talking about, our analytics. I won't forget that then if you bring that up. But join us over on YouTube. Be more than happy to have you over there. We're going to get into the entire game. But Gunnar Shooter says all of our mini comebacks have come, I guess, have been when Jaren is on the bench. I don't know if that just is the correlation is just odd, or is he got his finger on something? I love Jaren. I think he does. He's a brain dead idiot sometimes, but I do think he's a very good player. So I don't know how this correlates.
Well, let me tell you, and this is from a very limited sample size, but I did keep track of minutes in the last game. It's because Jaren doesn't play with anyone who can score. Like, because they stack his and Bane's minutes. It's like nobody can score. Jaren's the only one that can score, which is why he's putting up about 30 every night. Because when he's on the floor, he has to score or they're going to get run out.
Yeah.
Like, listen, and part of it is they just don't have players, right? I mean, I'm one of the biggest David Roddy fans on the planet. And every time he touches the ball right now, I'm like, Christ almighty. Like, I'm just going to start cleaning the kitchen again. Like last game, I got so mad. I went and I cleaned the kitchen because I was so mad. Literally, I told my wife, my beautiful wife, who might leave me if I have to keep watching these games, was sitting next to me. I said, baby, I can't take it. And I went and I started cleaning the house. And every time my guy David Roddy touches it, I'm like, dude, it's bad. They don't have players. They just don't. But they're also not maximizing what they have with their players. But anyways, no, it's not Jaren's fault. He has been awesome. He's going to be awesome. If we had real NBA players, I think we'd all be a lot happier, first off.
Yeah. Overall, man, the game pissed me off in so many different ways because literally you're getting jobbed out at this point with the referees. The Grizzlies aren't playing well either. So I don't want to give the referee excuse as a whole, as in that's the reason the Grizzlies lost. The Grizzlies lost because they were not playing well at all, and the referees were not helping. Dude, they were obviously hurting the entire flow. They were, the number on it was, I think it had 5 fouls in the first half called on the Jazz, and I guarantee if you look at this, you're probably going to see they shot 29 free throws and we shot 13 just overall. Where's the fouls? 17 to 23. That's what's frustrating is when you always look at the end of the game, you're going to see that they somehow work themselves out because they'll always figure out a way to give them cheap, stupid fouls. But actually, it was literally like 5 to 15 at the half, which is ridiculous. Like, that shouldn't happen.
Dude, it was terrible. It was terrible, man. And the thing is, and I say this every time we're watching these games, I'm like, man, I don't mind the no call. Except for there's a 13 free throw discrepancy, and you're making that call on the other side of the floor. Like this, listen, I know there's a lot of people who say, oh, officiating's all, dude. I don't know. Maybe I just pay attention more than ever. The state of officiating is miserable. But again, and also a big reason that happens is because the Jazz get to the bucket, dude. Like at the end of the game, the Grizzlies started getting to the bucket, and they started getting some, 1, shots to fall, but 2, free throws. I'm like, I could be an NBA coach.
All right, let's not.
Like, imagine that. You drive to the bucket and good things happen. I mean, the refs didn't help. You certainly got to have guys make shots, but they shot almost 40% from the three-point line tonight, right? They shot 40% from 3. They're doing good things, but man, every once in a while they dick around with too many possessions. You can't just dance around on possessions. You're not good enough to turn the ball over. I know our guy Sane came on here and laughed at me when I said Marcus Smart turns the ball over too much, but like, dude, you can't give up any more possessions than absolutely necessary if you're the Grizzlies because you're not good enough right now to afford that. And so it's every time you turn the ball over, it feels like a huge blow, bigger than it would be if you're the Jazz.
Yeah,
because you just don't get buckets. Tonight they did, ironically, and then they couldn't stop giving up buckets.
Yeah, tonight they honestly played well offensively. Defensively, they could not stop anybody.
Jaren's out in the corner guarding air. He's like Jordan. The closest man to him is John Conchar on the bench, and he's sliding to him.
Yeah,
dude, it's just abysmal basketball, dude. It's seriously miserable.
The Grizzlies gave up 76 points in the first half.
It's terrible. It's terrible. It's so miserable, dude.
Let me read off some of these comments real quick because I think it's these three in a row are the funniest just in general because you go from one thing to another. Volcano the Sweat says, I don't know what to think about this team. Shane kind of answers him and says, we are in the perfect storm. Refs blow, team blows, coach blows, front office blows. It's a storm. And then Volcano immediately after his last comment, to which then Shane comments, and then now Volcano comes back and says, we might not lose a game with Ja. I'm just
always
a
beacon of optimism.
In a nutshell of this is Grizzlies in a sense, because the sky is falling. Oh my God, everybody sucks. Everything's worse. We're in this perfect storm. It's terrible. And then it is, we might not lose a game with Ja.
This is just tweeted by Jessica Benson as a quote from Taylor Jenkins. One of the most poorly officiated games I've ever seen. Recorded. Effing atrocious.
Did he say
Let's
effing?
go, Taylor. Yeah.
I mean, like,
Family
did he actually
show,
say?
so I'm not going to say it. Yeah, no, said it. He didn't say effing.
Oh, he didn't say effing. He actually used it.
Yeah. Yeah. He
Mama, wash that mouth. Wash that boy's mouth out.
Family show. So I'm going to refrain, but I'm going to go ahead and like that tweet. There we go.
All right, real quick. Shout out to Jessica Benson. Spoke with her today. She's actually going to come on the show. We have a date lined up, but I'm not going to give that out yet because we want to make sure that we're going to get past November. So if that kind of lets anybody know, we're going to have more guests probably in December. Listen, the first month or so is a complete blur with getting into the flow of covering the Grizzlies each and every night. Jessica Benson does, the post-game show on the radio from Grind City Media. Don't turn this off. But they do that mainly for home games. And so we're going to do an away game at some point. And she has the early show. So it's like a perfect storm as well, like trying to get her on. But a bunch of other people, shout out to Matt Infield. He'll be on here at some point. And then I have a bunch of others that will be on as well. But I know you want to say something. Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to our guy, Chris Ingram, who was calling for something I think a lot of people have called for, but referee post-game availabilities. I don't know if it would solve everything, and like tonight, maybe they still double T Jaren, even though I bet they're a lot slower with that whistle. But I'll tell you what they don't do is double down in the fourth quarter and call like 6 fouls on the Grizzlies in the first 3 minutes of the fourth quarter for ticky-tack fouls.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm so hot about that officiating. It is unbelievable. Like, the Jaren thing was atrocious because it was a blown call, and then you're so quick with that double tech. That can't happen. Dude, I blew a gasket when they called back-to-back little ticky-tack holding fouls off ball on the Grizzlies on like the very first possession of that fourth quarter, dude. Like, put these refs on someplace they have to be held accountable.
Yeah.
Put them somewhere they can be held accountable. Like, everybody makes mistakes. Like, I'm sitting there, I'm not going to say anything about these dudes, like, really deprecating and stuff. You don't want to actually wish harm on somebody. But, dude, like, you've got to be able to be held accountable. Otherwise, you can just make ego calls like that, have zero repercussions for it, not have to answer for it to anyone. It's trash, dude. And it's garbage to watch. It's painful to watch. And it has people, I mean, we had somebody text us tonight, tell us that they're thinking about stopping watching the games because of how big of an impact ego officiating has on games that he watches. It's an issue when there's zero accountability. They got to fix it.
Yeah, I agree. It's been bad. Tonight was like the icing on the cake. Terrible. Like, you're choking on the cupcake at this point. Like, it sucked. It was not fun.
Well, and we're going to feel it more than other teams feel it because we're 1-8 and we do blow and our coach blows and our team blows. It's bad. But
we have less margin for error. Like, we just do.
Exactly. So we're going to feel it more than other teams and other fans feel it. At the same time, dude, like, this is not a new thing. Like, we've seen this happen. When Giannis got tossed the other night, it was an ego toss. That ref was just mad at Giannis for something he had said before, took the first opportunity he had to double T him and throw him out of the game.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Yeah, I listen, it was not good, but It was rocking there in FedEx Forum for sure. Spoke to a lot of people there that were there. Some close friends of mine, probably our closest, our closest couple friend, Z and C were there with their kid Mason. And so shout out to Mason. One, it's really late. You should probably go to bed. But two, hope you had fun. Hope everybody had fun, man. The forum, it looked to be rocking. Like the entire lower bowl was standing up, I would say probably late third into the fourth. So that's what makes Memphis in general special. Like people forget like what color you are, what background you are, whatever you are. They don't care. Like Memphians come together in times like this. And honestly, those are the kind of games that you want to be at. And so if you were lucky to be there, the Grizzlies lost. This season sucks. Just going to be honest. But in general, games like that makes it a lot of fun, especially because it's in the moment. And so hopefully everybody that went tonight had a good time and everybody's getting back home safely. If you are watching this or listening to this while you're driving home, keep your eyes on the road, please. But let's go through the stats real quick. The Grizzlies gave up 53.9% to the Jazz just overall. 3-point percentage was 48.6, which is just god-awful. Just ugly. 29 free throws, which is, that's just stupid compared to 13. But in general, like the rebounds were pretty equal. The Grizzlies had 14 offensive rebounds compared to 8. They were out-rebounded defensively, which matters, pretty much nothing because we had 101 shots compared to 76. Did you see that number? The Grizzlies.
What was the number?
The Grizzlies had 101 shot attempts compared to the Jazz 76. I have never seen a 25-point difference ever in my life of shots.
And they've made only 5 more.
Yeah, we made 5 more. Looking at this in general, assists, pretty close. Steals, they had 10-5. What's crazy to this is the 12 blocks compared to the 5 for the Grizzlies, which is completely just crazy in a sense. There's that many. Everything else is pretty.
That's what happens when one team's getting foul calls and the other team's getting no calls. Like, dude, I chalk a lot up to – I try to avoid what I used to do in my younger days, which is just hate every referee that ever called a game. But – and part of it tonight is also like, listen, the Jazz shot 50% from 3 again, which part of it is the Grizzlies defense lets teams feel really comfortable. At the same time, that's an extreme number. 49% from 3 is still an extreme number. Like if you told me Ochai Agbaji, was going to go 3 for 5 from 3. John Collins was going to go 3 for 3 from 3. Whatchamacallit. Keontae George is going to make a 3. I don't even know who this guy is. Some Italian-looking dude. 2 for 2. THT, 3 for 5. Like, that's pretty nasty.
You mean fettuccine?
Yeah, fettuccine Alfredo. It's going to ruin the dish for me if I have to keep watching him torch us. Which it didn't help that they just left him wide open. But all the same, that's an extreme number.
Yep.
All that to say, dude, the officiating has such a huge influence on this game. Like, listen, this team sucks. They're going to lose a lot of games just because they suck. But the officiating tonight was just, listen, you let me keep going. How does Jaren Jackson Jr. get 0 free throw attempts, dude? He shot 13 shots tonight. 2 of them were 3s. He doesn't take middies. They're all at the bucket, all of them, and not a single one had a foul call? Really? Desmond Bane, he's the only guy on our team that can drive, but by God, he'll do it. And he gets 3 free throws on the night. Kick rocks, Carlane. Adam Silver, fix my NBA League Pass so I can actually watch it and get some new officials in that'll call good games. Fix your product.
You good?
No, I'm not good.
All right, let's take a quick break. We're gonna hopefully move past the refs. We're gonna break down a little bit of the game, and then we're going to take one more break after that to give you the complete preview of the next game. But let's go ahead and get to a quicker break. It's 1:07. Don't go too far.
Yeah, because Zach Randolph went into the Blazers organization that had some characters. Underline the word characters,
right.
Okay? He's coming from Michigan State. He's from Marion, Indiana. And then you go to Portland, Oregon, which it's an entirely different culture, entirely different demographic. he had people around him who were guys from Marion. Hey, you owe us. Anthony, one of the key memories of my time here in Memphis off the court, I did a Read to Achieve event with Zach Randolph. And the kid who read the most books, his prize was to get to interview Zach Randolph. And the young man, first question to Zach is, what's the hardest thing for a black athlete to learn? And Zach did not give him any, like BS fluff answer. He said, a lot of times the people who say they're your friends, they're not your friends. And you have to pick the people around you very, very wisely.
Tune in to The Anthony Sane Show, Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
All right, real quick. All right, let's get to a little bit of the future, okay? We've talked so much about the refs in general. It's a simple thing of we need to kind of just move past it. If not, it's going to take over the entire show. So let's get this back on track a little bit. So the Grizzlies obviously lost 127 to 121, but let's talk about why, okay? Obviously tonight was not about the offense. What is it defensively that we're not doing? Is it as simple as just not closing out a three-point shooting? Like, what exactly do you think it is?
There's just no communication. There's way too many times both guys go with the ball handler on a pick and roll. There's way too many times that somebody switches, the other guy doesn't, or they keep trying to run that zone. I think that's why the zone makes it stand out so starkly, is that in a zone, if you don't communicate, you're gonna get exposed.
Yeah,
like you just are, because you have to always be communicating on who's got where, who's going with that guy on his own, and then they just don't do that. And part of it's a chemistry thing. Like these guys haven't played enough together, but part of it's also, man, they just don't know what they're doing. Like some of these guys have played together and they still don't communicate, right? It's just a mess.
So is it, if you had to choose one, is it just being a young team, playing a bunch of young players, or is it the chemistry? Like if you had to choose one, like I'm putting you're standing here and we're watching and we're playing Squid Games and you have to choose the right one. You're going to choose one. Don't die, but choose one.
It's chemistry. That would actually be an easy round of Squid Games. Like it's easily chemistry, but it's also, I mean, I hate to say this, but it looks like a lack of grit too, man. Like they switch everything so guys don't have to fight over screens. They're like, dog, I'm sorry, but putting Bismack Biyombo and Jordan Clarkson's a recipe for disaster. Also because it ends up with Jacob Gilliard on Lauri Markkanen. And like, at the end of the day, you've got to fight over screens too.
All right. Question on that one. Okay. So let's say Mighty Mouse does get backed onto Lauri Markkanen, right? And they're in the post. Did that hurt us tonight in the post, or was it because we had to overhelp then and then it was the kick out after that?
It was that. They didn't kill the Grizzlies in the post tonight. They didn't kill them down low. There's only
they shot 76 times.
Yeah. Well, I think that was one. There's like one time Markkanen had, it wasn't even Gilliard, it was Smart down under the basket. So they got him once, but no, it's you got to help. And then the Grizzlies don't know how to help, man. Like they just they don't. They sort of soft double a lot. They don't commit to anything. That's what I'm saying. There's no flying around the court defensively. The only time they started flying around the court was when they went on that run to tie it up and Jaren got tossed and they were all fired up. But that's what's depressed me most about this team to start the season is I'm like, dude, where's the guy that wants this? Yeah. The answer is Desmond Bane. He's the only one though. Like this team doesn't want it. They don't want it. There's nobody flying around. I don't know if it's because they're confused or soft, but
real quick, we might have kids listening. I'm not sure, but I was told that this is not safe for work in SFW. So if for some reason you do have kids, we try to keep it very clean on this, just so we're clear. I have the Taylor press conference. It might be an F-bomb. I'm not sure, but I'm going to play it just as we always do. But just want to warn any parents. Mason, close your ears.
Sure. Saddle up. One of the most poorly officiated games I've ever seen. Recorded. I'm fine with it. Fucking atrocious.
Wow. Listen, I am down. I'm down with that Taylor. Give me that Taylor every single time.
But
How
dude,
cool is that?
in all seriousness, like, dude, send the freaking, like, where is that from our guys every night? I don't see it from anybody, dude.
Yeah, let's hear the rest of his rant real quick.
23 minutes and is in the paint all night. He's one of the most professional
Talking about
players in
Jaren.
this league. And gets a double technical foul. And the excuse I get is that he's charging at an official. It's called de-escalation. 29 free throws to 13. And I'm not that coach. You can go back in the history. I've done this one other time. Our team is competing their asses off.
Get your money's
Competing their
worth.
asses off.
Get your money's worth.
And this is what happens. The interactions right now with the officials, complete disrespect. I know what's coming. It's unbelievable the looks on the faces when I'm trying to engage in conversation to defend our guys that are busting their tail right now. Busting their tail. And Jaren Jackson's one of the most professional guys. And if you go watch the play, 2 possessions in a row, he gets hacked underneath the basket, 0 free throw attempts. I'm not trying to put a name on a jersey and this guy should earn these fouls and all this stuff. Watch the game. 29 free throws to basically like there was 7. And then at the end of the game, a few more added. I don't understand it when guys are competing their tails off. And we got stuff we can clean up. Sometimes we're grabbing, we're holding, and one's like, oh, man, here. In the heat of the battle, when conversations are trying to be had, notices trying to be made on things that are happening, and there's not the enforcement of it. It blows my mind. What are we doing here? What are we doing?
His northern
Our
accent.
guys are competing their tails off. We got to play better. We got to coach better. We got to play better. But I don't get tonight whatsoever. Again, I'm going to go back to the interactions. Stern. Nothing. Stonewall. Ignoring. And then you wonder why our guys are trying to compete. I don't get it. I look forward to watching the tape, getting responses to when I send clips in, all that stuff to see what should have happened. And you wonder why. I haven't done this most of my career, all that stuff, but I got to defend my guys when they're competing their tail off. And we're not trying to lose our heads. We're trying to go out and win basketball games and try to play better. It's as simple as that. We're trying to play better. We're trying to play better.
Yo, that's Taylor Jenkins. Listen, I'll give you a round of applause for that one, man. You might not like him in so many different ways, whatever people might. I'm not directing anything to you, obviously, but in general, you might not like him, and that's fine. You might not like his coaching styles. What I will say about Taylor Jenkins is the guys seem to like him. He seems to always have their backs. Take out rotations and stuff like that right now. That was awesome. That's what you want a coach to do for you as a player. You want them to have your back, and you want them to completely, honestly, just get fined and take that for data in a sense. Like, same exact thing.
It's funny you say that. I literally, in my head before we got on here, I was like, this is a take that for data type of game.
It is.
Let's see if it gets the guys fired up, man. Like, it's you want to hear that from Taylor. Listen, I still think some of the stuff I'm seeing is asinine, but the guys found a way to compete at the end of the game tonight, and that's all you want. If the guys come out and set the tone and compete like that all the time, I just think a lot's better. A lot gets solved by effort and hustle. Look at Jacob Gilliard. Like a full, 6 to 10 inches gets solved by Jacob Gilliard. He's 5'8"? Pause. Sorry. Pause. But like that dude's 5'8", and all he has is effort, hustle, and know-how. Like if the entire team gave that, it'd be huge. So let's see if that can light a fire under them, because quite frankly, they need something like that to spark them.
Right.
It's looking bleak at 1-8.
Yeah, Shane says he loves to hear that from Jenkins. Shane, I believe that might be a pit bull in your picture, and if it is, I love it. I have a gray pit myself, but I've been meaning to say that. I literally have a painting of my dog and it looks very similar. So I'm just curious, but I think there's a lot of love, that's shown for things like that. Listen, you know what that reminds me of? That press conference, that reaction from Taylor, dude, that's so Memphis. Like that is just so Memphis. His northern accent was coming out. Like when you get into like a fight or you're pissed off, like a little bit of just comes out, like who you are really down. It just comes out and you're just like, God, like, yeah, no holding
I got in trouble for that a lot tonight. Sorry, babe. But Chris with the finally off the fake script that we get every night. I'm not sure if you remember because we try and block a lot of this out of our minds. I went over my best impression of that fake script on our last. Is it possible Taylor Jenkins is an avid listener of the Grizz 901 podcast, and I inspired him to get off of that script? I'm not going to take credit just yet, but you're saying there's a chance.
He might be. I believe he does live like 8 minutes from me, so maybe he's catching the Grizz 901 somehow in the sphere. But literally, let's hit on some things. I know that was cool. This team in general, where they go from now, obviously, we're going to talk about the next game and completely just discuss that in general. And that's going to be coming up. I will actually not be on the show. Nate is going to run that himself. It is a Sunday afternoon show. I actually do have my daughter's birthday party that day. So I will not be here on the show. I think it'll be the first one I miss on the season. But you'll be here with another co-host. But
and I was actually going to say, for all my No Bluffing fans that are joining us tonight, Chris Ingram, host of the No Bluffing podcast. He's been hosting some spaces lately too that have been a blast. So come on and come through. He's going to join me on the post-game show. And if any of you have not heard me and Chris do a show before, it gets off the rails pretty fast, but it's a lot of fun too. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, we're gonna have some. If you're a loyal person that watches on a consistent basis and kind of listens to us, don't turn off the show, because we do have a lot of change that will be happening. Not in general for us, but like just because of schedules and the way things are going around the holidays, there's going to be a lot of times where me and Nate aren't on for like 2 or 3 games in a row. Just because we're trying to, divvy up, time to make sure that, we're passing this off properly. But we're going to have people on here. I have 3 people in mind that I want to do the show with me that I don't think have ever done the show with me in general. Plus, we're going to go outside the Bluff City Media box, at least for me. I like to go outside the box and try to invite some new people on to co-host with me, but also be a guest as well. So make sure you tune in. There's going to be a lot of things. We're going to try to keep it different and light. But also we're going to make sure we have some fun. So, what's that laugh about?
I wanted to give a shout out because I do, for anybody who is just joining us, hadn't been with us through this show in the past. I live in Salt Lake City. I tend to trash this state quite a bit. It's a lot of honkies, and the food says so, and the way people drive says so. It's a bit of a train wreck. I want to give a shout out to those Jazz announcers tonight. I was so sad I had to listen to the Jazz stream tonight, but I want to give them a shout out because they actually did a really good job. I never once thought about putting the game on mute. And then when the officiating got to the point where it did, I mean, the Jazz announcers never once acted like the Grizzlies were in the wrong for complaining. They were like, I mean, the officiating has been questionable all night. I mean, they were with it. So in a state where I tend to trash pretty much everything, the Jazz announcers did a really solid job tonight. So shout out to those guys.
Yeah.
Carlin can kick rocks.
Definitely can kick rocks. All right, let's put a bow on this, and then we'll go ahead and move into the last segment, which will be the preview of the Clippers, who did lose. If they haven't lost yet, they are currently losing. Let me pull up the score real quick. They did lose. They lost to the Mavericks. Bad. So they're 0-3. They lost 144 to 126. It was over at halftime. The Mavericks were up 30, I believe, at halftime. I'm not sure what to think of the Clippers, but in general, give me a synopsis of what your thoughts are on the upcoming just small stretch of schedule. So we're looking at, just in general, we're looking at the Clippers on Sunday, right? So that's going to be it's probably a hit or miss game. That's probably the one that probably makes you think that the Grizzlies, I wouldn't say have a chance, but for the simple fact that the Grizzlies are playing a team that is trying to find their chemistry as well after acquiring James Harden. But then you're talking about the Lakers at the Lakers. This is a 3-game stretch, and then coming back, which will be the next Sunday against the Celtics, which is a back-to-back with travel, right? So just give me those 4 games. What's your thoughts on anything in general you're looking to see out of this team other than wins?
I've already said it. Come out on fire, dude. Like, come out on fire every game. Yep. Like, come out like your life depends on it. Because quite frankly, if you keep playing like this, your season's over when Ja Morant gets back. So you got to come out like your freaking life and season depends on it, because quite frankly, it does. But if they play with the energy they played with the last bit of that third quarter all the way through that fourth quarter, like, you saw what happened. They had the Jazz on their heels. Yeah. And that is a direct result of the energy and pressure you're putting on them. So why don't we get that for a full 48? Like, why has that not happened yet? It has to happen. Like, and even in the game they won, it didn't. But if you do that, like this Clippers team, imagine that you acquire James Harden and things aren't going well. Shocking. But dude, it's the same thing we talked about the last game. This is the NBA, dude. Like, if you put that kind of effort forth every night, all you need is one guy to catch a heater. Like, you can catch teams on an off night. All of a sudden, you win 3 or 4 games in a row. Like, it can happen. It's happened with a lot worse teams than the talent the Grizzlies currently have aggregated. So, yeah. Listen, if you're asking me if I'm putting money on the Grizzlies to win any games, like, sorry, the answer is no. But if you're asking me, is there still a way these Grizzlies can get back in the season? Yeah, but time is quickly running out for them to do that.
Listen, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at this right here. Dak Daniels, shout out to you, man. Ja's suspension should have been 25 games or 15 losses, whichever comes first. So, little Dak Daniels.
I got a little Dak Daniels single barrel tonight. Very underrated. Very underrated.
I got my 8-year. Can you see it? Upside down. I'm going.
Yeah, I see it. It's an 8, Daniel. There's no upside down. It's the same both ways.
Well, that's the heart for my wife. It was our anniversary gift for our 8-year anniversary.
That's nice.
2 years ago, a year ago, whatever.
That is nice.
Anyway, all right. Enough about what tonight was. We're going to go ahead and end that part. We're going to take a small break. I'm going to cut this one short. If I can cut it right in the middle, we're going to try to take another minute break with this one. It says it's 2 minutes. I'm going to try to hit it in a minute, and then we'll get to the preview of the Clippers that we have Sunday. So hopefully I do right. That's not it.
Seth Bennington just still. He
doesn't look himself.
He just doesn't. In the big moments, he's not making the plays that have to be made. If you look at the raw stats, they're not terrible. But the 2 interceptions.
Yeah.
And he fumbled twice. They didn't lose those fumbles, but 2 fumbles and 2 interceptions, one of them coming at a terrible time on a 4th down late in the game when Memphis really needed to put points on the board. But I just don't think Seth is playing well enough to elevate this team.
Right.
I think he's playing well enough for Memphis to be fine. But as far as for them to do something special and to elevate this team, he's just not playing like that.
Tune in to On the Bluff with Christian Fowler and Gabe Kuhn every Tuesday at 12 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
All right, look at that. We finally figured it out. Sorry, there's so many videos over here. I'm going to eventually figure this out. But real quick, shout out to our other shows that we do here on the Bluff City Media Network. Our main guy, my brother from another mother, the Anthony Sane Show, Wednesdays and Fridays at noon. If you're missing it, you're missing out. That's just plain and simple. But if you're looking for some Tiger stuff, how are the Tigers doing right now? Do you know?
They just won. They're 2-0. Went to Missouri.
No way. They beat Missouri.
I looked up. I forgot Penny was suspended. And I was like, who's that honky coaching the Tigers? But they went in. They won by 15, man. They looked pretty good, 15. Too. Actually. I only caught some of that second half, and I was like, ooh, these boys are playing. So we got some guys covering that too. So even if the Grizzlies make you want to never turn on your TV again, we got some great shows over here covering the Tigers, and it looks like it's going to be a pretty fun season over there. So maybe you trade allegiances just for one season if this keeps going on. I might do that. So
shout out to the Tigers.
Yeah, man, that's a good win. Truly.
Yep. You went into the doom of the Tigers, the Missouri Tigers, bro. They want to be relevant so bad, and they're just not relevant. They're not good at sports, but they want to be.
Drew Lock. Is Drew Lock a Missouri Tiger?
I think so.
Exactly.
Maybe.
That's the point.
Shout out to Tuesdays at noon. So you have Wednesdays at noon, right? And then you have your Fridays at noon. We'll go back the other day on the Bluff, Tuesdays at noon with Gabe and Christian. They talk about pretty much everything, but they're going to be very Tigers centric. But you want to talk about who is all about the Tigers, and that is Tigers Untapped. So make sure you hit up TJ and Trey. I can't read that, but I think it says something about 3:00. Can you see
3
that?
p.m. Wednesdays.
I don't know what the other part of that says. I don't know what day it is. So
you
I
are
apologize.
getting old, brother. It's
You
Wednesdays at 3 p.m.
Is it Wednesdays?
Yeah, Wednesdays at 3 p.m.
Oh, there it is. Yep. Sorry. I have it on. Listen, I have a
man.
smaller screen. I have more to do over here than you. You just get to sit there and do the show. I got to actually push all these buttons. And then after that, we do obviously have Bluff City Bets. I think I did well tonight. I keep seeing notifications that I got some bets right. Sean does GBB Live. I think that is on the weekend he's doing. But make sure, most of all, you join us over at Bluff City Media. If you can be an insider, awesome. It's $5 a month. You can join the Discord and you can chat with all of us. You can see all what we have pretty much behind the scenes, where we can kind of just do a little bit of chatting in the different Discord channels. It is $5 a month. But most of all, if you can't do that, it's free to hit the subscribe button. Wherever you're watching this, go ahead and subscribe. If you're watching on Twitter, go ahead and follow us. You can follow us at Grizz901 Podcast, but also you can subscribe to the show at Grizz901 on YouTube. But mainly hit the we're always going to be immediately live at Bluff City Media on the YouTube channel. So go ahead and subscribe to that. That's really the one that matters. We want you to be on Grizz901. That's where we're going to have all of our content, all of our shows. I'm trying to do some shorts. I'm not good at it, but I'm trying. What I am doing, I don't know if you saw this, Nate, Mark, the boss, put me on this, is to cut our game preview, and put that on a video on its own. So it's like an 8 to 10 minute video of a game preview that we're going to be doing. And so speaking of the game preview, the Clippers, we play them Sunday. 2:30. Make sure you tune into this show. It'll be about 5:00 in the afternoon, right before dinner. It's probably right at our dinner time for my family. What's your thoughts initially on the Clippers?
Oof, I mean, they're a train wreck. They're not as big of a train wreck as the Grizzlies right now, but since a team that's struggling to find its way with the James Harden acquisition, but they've got a lot of good players. They've got Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Russell Westbrook. As much as people love to make a meme out of him, is still a good player. But it's one of those games that's early afternoon. It is a home game. Is that correct?
Yes. No, it's on the road.
On the road. So it is in LA, but it's one of those weird afternoon games. Energy will probably be low. And if you come out, punch them in the mouth, really come out firing, you have a chance to take that game early and then hold it until the end. But, same thing. This team comes out with a full 48 effort. They can compete any night. They can give themselves a chance to win. If they don't, then it's going to go downhill fast for them. So depends on what team comes out. I expect to see them coming out with a little bit more grit to them than they came out with really so far this season. But we'll see. I've expected it a lot and I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, the Clippers are 3-5 as of right now. The Grizzlies are now 1-8. Do you think that they're freaking out 3-5? Clippers?
No. They're 3-5. They've got Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, James Harden, Russell Westbrook. They maybe should be freaking out because they traded for James Harden, which has worked out for literally no one ever. So they probably should be freaking out because they made a massive mistake doing that. But not yet. I mean, you're 3-5, but you're the Clippers. You have a bunch of good players. You just brought in another one who you think's an amazing player, obviously. No, they're not freaking out.
All right,
they're not worried about this game.
So real quick, somebody just looked up something on, I believe it was NBA, maybe the NBA app. And if you look at the preview for the Clippers and the Grizzlies, the Clippers at that time, literally 18 minutes ago when he looked at it, the Clippers were 3-4. And they had the Grizzlies at 2-16.
Oof. Oof.
Did they hit too many buttons, or are they telling the future? Do we have a Grizz teller over here? If you
the script's out,
if the script says 2-16, Nate, are you freaking out?
No, I'm just done. If they are 2-16, I will have been done long before we get to the 16.
Bro, I don't know if you know this.
We're on pace for that. I know.
We just went 1-8. We could do this again.
I am well aware.
Sheesh. All right, let's
the panic button will be pressed at that point.
My panic button.
I'm just going to enjoy the fact that Desmond Bane's amazing.
By
the way, after all the SGA gobbling we've gotten over the past couple of years, if Desmond Bane puts up these numbers and isn't an all-star, like, come on. I'll lose my mind about that.
He's got to win some games. He'll win some games with Ja to at least put him in the discussion, but they're always going to hold it against him. Whatever these first 25 games are, they're going to hold it against him.
SGA is apparently a top 10 player in the league as of the beginning of this year. Have they made the playoffs without Chris Paul? Did that happen last year?
No, they have not.
No, they haven't. Oh, my God. So you're telling me a team full of losers has a guy who is a top 10 player in the league, but I'm asking too much for Desmond Bane to be an all-star? Listen, this is what I'm clinging to as a Grizzlies fan at 1-8.
You're
this
on
is what we have.
You're on 1-9. I like it. All right, let's get to this game real quick. The Clippers and the Grizzlies. Looking at this game overall, the first thing I noticed was his last game they shot 27. Big fan of that number. If they could only shoot 27, I feel really good about our chances. You do have James. Everybody can hit a three-pointer. I'm not worried about that. You had Paul George go 1-7 tonight, and then you had Bones Highland. Is there anybody on this team that you're like, hey, these are the main guys that we're watching out for if they can get hot, if they can get on a heater, just because it seems like everybody can get on a heater from the three-point line? Is there anybody else besides those two? Because those are the first two people I think of when it comes to the Clippers.
The Jazz just shot 50% from the three-point line tonight. Like, if they are on the roster, I'm a little worried about it, right? Like, if Zubac went 3 for 3 from beyond the arc, I wouldn't be amazed. Dude. And honestly, Paul George just wasted his 1 for 7 night. They just wasted their 29% from 3 night tonight, which means they'll probably shoot somewhere around 47% from 3 on Sunday.
Not good.
Everybody worries me. Everybody.
At this point,
basketball, I'm concerned.
At this point, is it worth breaking down these games? Because there's nothing we can add besides we got to guard somebody. They're probably going to shoot their highest they've ever shot, and we're going to just take it in the face.
Give a good pause. Big pause. Give your best effort, guys. I mean, literally, that is my hashtag analysis. Is like, just give us effort. Give us effort.
You just want some effort.
Because
all right.
That's all I want. 5
minutes. We'll wrap this up in 5 minutes because listen, this has been a fun show. Even I think we're delirious. You know that point where you get into you're so tired or you're so done that you just kind of get delirious no matter what you're doing. I think this is where we are in our fandom and covering the show, doing the shows immediately. Pushing the stupid button after you see your team lose is just miserable because you know you have 2 minutes of just sitting there waiting until you have to start talking and you don't really know what to say. Like that part is miserable. So, but anyway, 5 minutes. Let's discuss this game like adults real quick, and then we'll go ahead and wrap up the show as much as we can.
No. All right, let's go.
Matchup wise, Zubac on Biombo, easy. You have Jaren. What do you do with Jaren? Because you have not Westbrook, not Harden. You probably don't want to put him on Paul George. Or I'm sorry, you don't want to put him on Kawhi Leonard, but Kawhi Leonard is more of the guy who wants to get into the post. But you're talking about Raheem DPOY that just got blown by whatever. I think it was Abaji tonight. That blew by him. Yeah, it just blew by him.
I screwed it up so bad the first time. I know it now.
Yeah.
I mean, you probably are putting him on Paul George, maybe Kawhi. I mean, it's one of those two guys.
You're
right?
not starting Jacob Gilliard. Russell Westbrook.
Probably are.
Russell Westbrook will back that dude to the basket every single time.
You honestly, I think you live with that. Like if he backs him all the way under the basket, if he backs him just into the post and then shoots his little fadeaway, as a Grizzlies fan, you're like, at least it's not another open three.
Yeah, true. So is that the
and
tease?
If he backs him all the way under the basket, you can bring Biombo or Jaren in to help.
Is that right? like the carrot the Grizzlies are going to hold over the Clippers? Is like, I dare you to give it to Russell Westbrook and let him take over. I dare you.
Well,
unfortunately,
the way the season's gone, he will succeed. Right? That's just unfortunately how it's gone. But I mean, that's sort of what you live with, right? Because at the end of the day, Paul George and Kawhi Leonard are getting a bunch of good shots. You're much more worried about that than you are Russell Westbrook backing down Jacob Gilliard.
Right.
You just are, right? So you probably are doing that. I mean, honestly, I don't really know what else you're going to do.
Disgusting to me.
Listen, Gilliard played well tonight. He earned those minutes.
Yes. Listen, I'll eat that crow for sure. Mighty Mouse played his tail off. I should have bet on him, and me and Ryan almost bet on him as well on a double-double. But Ryan was doing his midnight madness for his coaching team that he does and was not available, and I really just didn't want to dig into the details of it to see if it was worth doing that on a whatever it was, the number. But overall, the Grizzlies, I think they match up terribly with the Clippers. But the Clippers have played terrible. I think that just at that point, there's no matchups that you can discuss. They're going to be more athletic than you. The main thing is you can't let Terrence Mann be Terrence Mann. You can't let Bones Highland get hot. You can't let Paul George get hot. James Harden. Do I need to keep going down the roster? You can't let them get hot and
when Terrence Mann and Bones Highland check in and just smoke us, like just be prepared, right? Like they're gonna be faster than you. They're gonna be bigger than you. They're gonna be stronger than you. They're gonna shoot better than you. Like they're gonna get better calls than you. The only thing you can do is maybe they don't give more effort than you. That is where I'm at as a Grizzlies fan. This is where we're at.
That's sad.
Here's my question to you.
Oh my God.
If we do get to a 2-16 pace, let's say we're 3-22.
I'm quitting.
Are you happy Ja Morant's coming back? Or are you pissed that he's going to possibly screw up your odds at the number one overall pick?
Take the year. Take the year.
All right. I promise. No, let's get away from that. We're not there yet. We'll have that conversation when we get there.
That's as dead as the chat. That's as dead as the chat. As soon as we got off the rails and just went a little off the radar, the chat died as well. So I apologize. We're trying to get this back on the tracks, but at this point, just like we just said, we don't know what to talk about other than like literally we sucked, got past halftime. Jaren loses it, gets thrown out of the game. The Grizzlies decide, hey, that pisses us off too. We're going to try really hard. And they come back from being 21 down and decide they're going to make a game of it just to get back into the game and then not be able to hit a shot in the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter after Desmond Bain goes in fuego leading up until then. And then at that point, the Grizzlies just can't hit anything. And so that's been the season. It is what it is. That's all I have. Anything else you have for this tonight? I think we're just going round and around for no reason.
Nah.
All right.
I got nothing.
All right, so make sure you follow us if you do not mind. Hit the like button. We'd appreciate it. Hit the subscribe button over at Bluff City Media or Grizz 901 Podcast. Anywhere you can find us, we will be there. We always pull the audio and send it over to Spotify, Apple, wherever you are listening. The analytics. One last thing, and this is going to go on deaf ears. I might say it again when we have a bigger audience because a lot of people have left at this point. At the end of the show. Dude, we are doing big numbers over in New Zealand and with the ladies. I looked at our numbers and we are 46% female audience. So whatever we're doing, thank you. Ladies, if you enjoy this show, because honestly, women listening to sports, listening to basketball, it doesn't happen as often. And so if we're able to be an outlet for you, if you want to join us, and if you want to hit the comments, be more than happy to obviously bring you up just as we do anybody else. But we just want to say thank you. That doesn't always happen. And so I was proud of seeing that. I don't know if that's going to happen every time, but the very beginning of the month, or very beginning of this show so far this season, leading all the way to back, I guess the 25th. So before then, it was 46% female. And so that was pretty cool to see that. And so shout out to the ladies, but I just wanted to say that because I think that's important, but also that's pretty cool. I didn't think we had that big of a divide, or really honestly, a pretty even split with guys and girls. So that's all we have. We're hoping that the Sunday game goes a lot better. As somebody else said, if Chris comes on the show and the Grizzlies win, then it looks like Chris is back for the long haul because I am not good for the winning, obviously. But that's all we have, man. It's been a blast. I thought the Grizzlies were going to come back and win. They didn't. But in the end, there are Grizzlies, and we're going to keep supporting them no matter what. So we'll be back here Sunday. Don't make sure you don't miss out on the show. Tell a friend, be a friend. Let them know about the Grizz 901 Podcast, your favorite Grizzlies postgame show. Be nice and tell your friends.